Tennessee Titans fans, we are back at it today, checking out a video from K Rich Productions. I want to say I checked out a video from K Rich in the preseason, in the days leading up to the start of the season, and I think it ticked me off pretty bad when I watched it. But now we are watching this video here today called The Will Levis Project is Over. I'm willing to hear him out. Let's see.
As the 2024 NFL season unfolds, Will Levis finds himself under an unrelenting spotlight, grappling with the weight of expectations that come with being a highly drafted quarterback. And I mean, with a new disappointing performance on the field pretty much each week, Levis has become a focal point of scrutiny, standing alongside Bryce Young as one of the least effective quarterbacks from the 2023 draft class. Critics are pointing to his poor...
I just like to hear a little bit of love for Anthony Richardson in that statement. Like, I can't believe we're still, even though I get it with Will, like he's been bad, we're still playing favorites.
Poor decision-making and inability to execute smart plays, leading to frustration among his teammates, Titan fans, and even his coaching staff. With every game that passes, whispers of potential replacements grow louder, suggesting that if Levis can't turn things around, he might find himself on the bench, or hell, even out of the team within the next year or two. So today, as we delve into his challenges, we'll explore the implications of his struggles on the franchise and what the future might hold for this once promising talent.
I love that the narrative now is, oh, he had so much promise and talent, when these same people spent the entire preseason talking about how bad he was going to be. Then he ends up being bad, and it's like, oh man, what happened? What went wrong?
Are you looking for a new book this football season?
Nope.
24 on all it is, you guys, for a 150% promo. Again, jump into his just most recent.
Yeah, I remember this guy. The Saints hat gave him away.
Players of the 2024 season, we really have to go back all the way to the 2023 season where these problems began. As the 33rd overall pick in the 2023 draft, the second rounder wasn't necessarily expected to immediately take over the league. The former Kentucky quarterback had thrown for 43 touchdowns in just 23.
Which is a stupid thing to expect any young quarterback to do nowadays. I understand you have your instances of a CJ Stroud or a Jaden Daniels, but those guys are the exception and not the rule. More times than not, it is ridiculous to expect any young quarterback to just come in and take over the league.
Interceptions in his 2 years with the Wildcats, which, I mean, aren't great numbers, but they are solid numbers. He was joining a Titans team with Ryan Tannehill as a starting quarterback, whom he would sit behind and learn from during his rookie season. The Titans were also returning running back Derrick Henry and had a veteran wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. And I mean, honestly, his situation looked pretty good among the rookie quarterbacks that were drafted in 2023. I mean, look at Bryce Young and what he had to step into. It was just pretty much pure chaos, and he had no weapons. At least Levis had some guys he could rely on in Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins. But after an ankle injury suffered by Tannehill almost halfway through the season, Levis had to step in and take over. In his first NFL start, Levis looked like an absolute stud. The second round pick threw 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Like
and honestly, everybody, including the Titans, thought they had found their next franchise guy. The next 3 weeks, Levis and the Titans went 0-3, and Will had a touchdown interception ratio of 2-2 in those games. Those first 4 weeks for him sort of set the tone for the rest of the year, which ended up being his rookie season filled with huge inconsistencies. Despite showing some serious flashes of potential, he struggled with decision making, often forcing passes into tight coverage and failing to read defenses effectively.
I still love showing that interception as like a beacon of why he was not good. That was literally on the last play of the game, having to chunk it up to the end zone. But whatever.
Accuracy was inconsistent, leading to high interception rates and stalled drives. And after throwing for 4 touchdowns and sealing a dominant victory in his Titans debut, Levis only threw 4 touchdowns combined in the following 8 games and only won twice. Levis faced challenges in developing chemistry with his receivers, contributing to a lack of offensive rhythm. And as the season progressed, a lot of
I will respectfully disagree with that one, because DeAndre Hopkins was vocally a supporter of Will Levis, defended Will Levis. I think he and Hopkins actually had a pretty good little connection, and there were no other good receivers on the team. So, I mean, it's more not so much about miscommunication. That was more so about just not any
questions
other good
came up
receivers.
about how good really Will Levis was, along with the frustrations of just his coaches and teammates were having with him after seeing such a great start in his first game. Overall, though, I think that we can all agree that Will Levis's rookie season was just a very steep learning curve and definitely highlighted some areas that had some significant improvement or at least needed to be worked on in the offseason. And I mean, while he didn't lead the Titans to a winning record, much less the playoffs, he still showed enough potential to the team to convince them to make him the starter. So going into the 2024 season that we're in now, Will Levis looked like he would have a great supporting cast, and fans were excited to see what the second-year player could do. The Titans hired a new head coach in Brian Callahan, a new offensive coordinator, and a new defensive coordinator, and were expected to completely turn this team around. There were certainly still some fans who were looking to find a replacement for Levis this offseason, thinking the young
Always. There's no more popular guy in an NFL franchise than the backup quarterback when you don't have a surefire thing as a starter. You know, they're going to be, and keep in mind, I am not here to defend Will Levis or to do PR for him. I understand it's been bad. You've listened to my podcast. I've been pretty vocal, but there were a lot of people that were out on Will Levis from the start anyway, because a lot of Tennessee Titans fans are also fans of the University of Tennessee Volunteers. And Kentucky was a big rival for them. So there's been people that have not wanted Will Levis to succeed at all. And if you are one of those who would rather him fail so that you can be right, go find another fan base.
quarterback still needed more time to develop before becoming the full-time starter. I mean, hell, there were even murmurs of signing quarterback Dak Prescott, who at the time had still not signed his new contract with the Cowboys, but there was no movement from the Titans organization, and Will Levis
When did that ever happen?
The
I'm sorry. I've never even heard the first inclination that was ever even discussed by anybody. This is the first time I've ever heard Dak Prescott's name attached. I don't even believe what I just heard.
Season opener was supposed to be a great first game for Will Levis in this new look Titans team. They were lucky enough to play a rookie quarterback week 1 against the overall pretty mediocre Chicago Bears team. And like hell, I think a lot of analysts and just fans thought that the Titans were going to
Oh, wait, what is he about to say?
Chicago Bears team. And like hell, I think a lot of analysts and just fans thought that the Titans were going to walk away with this game pretty easily and get the win. But
that's just an outright lie. That's just an outright lie. I did not see one person pick the Titans to win that game. Nobody even cared that the Titans were there. They all were just like, oh, Caleb Williams, the Bears. And first of all, the Bears are not a mediocre team. They've got a really solid defense. But yes, rookie quarterback, I get all that he's saying. The idea that everybody we're just changing the narrative based on, like, now we're trying to tell the story that everyone expected Will Levis to be good. That's just not true. I got the clips to prove it. Nobody expected Will Levis to be good. Nobody anywhere. Except Nashville. Nobody. And nobody expected the Titans to win that game. Nobody predicted the Titans to win that game. And to say they did is a total lie.
I think as we kept watching this game and it just kept getting closer to the end, we kind of realized that that wasn't what was going to happen with this Titans team. Levis and the Titans started the game out hot and opened up a 17-0 lead over the Bears by the second quarter. The first half performance had a lot of Titans fans feeling confident in the fact that maybe he had fixed their issues just from a year ago. Unfortunately for them though, that's where the smooth sailing ends. And pretty much the Titans offense couldn't get the ball moving anymore for the rest of that game. After a Titans fumble that led to a Bears field goal in the fourth quarter, Tennessee found themselves up by just 1 point with a score of 17-16 with just 10 minutes left in the game. And I mean, with the game on the line, Levis threw a pick 6 to give the Bears the game-winning touchdown. What made the play even worse was Levis's reaction, which quickly went viral on social media. Videos and photos of his reaction quickly started circulating on platforms like Instagram and Twitter, and just like that, Levis and the Titans became the laughingstock of the NFL. Levis finished the game with one
Dude, you guys have been laughing at the Titans for like 20 years. Like, literally, I watched clip after clip after clip after clip after clip leading up to this season of people laughing at the Titans, laughing at the idea that they were even going to field a team, all of that. So, like, don't try it. That's another, let's just change the narrative on the fly. that now everybody's laughing at the Titans. You guys been laughing at the Titans for 20 years.
Touchdown and 2 interceptions, and most importantly, 1 loss. Despite the embarrassing game and admitting that he made a boneheaded play on the 4th quarter interception, Levis stated that he thinks he is still a quote-unquote good quarterback in this league. And if Levis won...
What do you want him to say? Like, what do you want the guy to say? I suck and they should fire me. Like, everybody took that quote and was like, oh, what's he thinking? Like, what do you want him to say?
Absolutely anybody to believe that statement, he was going to have to make a huge statement in week 2. And well, let's just say that didn't happen. Week 2 was the Titans home opener where they hosted Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. The Jets were also coming off of a week 1 loss after getting dismantled by the Niners. So both teams were hungry for the first win of the 2024 season. And I think after throwing for under 130 yards and 2 interceptions in week 1, including the one that went viral and cost the Titans the game, I think it's safe to say that things could only get better, right? But Will Levis, being the amazing player that he is, managed to still make huge mistakes that would just cost the Titans the game again. Levis had some crucial turnovers against the Jets, almost just as bad as the pick 6 thrown against the Bears. Levis lost an inexplicable fumble in the red zone against the New York Jets after throwing the ball backwards once he started to feel some pressure from the defense. Tennessee was leading 7-0 and was threatening a 2-possession lead at the time of Levis's unfortunate fumble and completely shifted the momentum of the entire game. The Jets ended up cruising to a 24-17 win.
You know what's funny? That play was awful, yes. But everybody, I don't know, I guess everybody's just like, oh, that play changed the game. Does anybody remember what happened after that play? I mean, yes, there was definitely, Titans had all the momentum and they gave some of it up there. But do you want to know what happened after that fumble, after the Jets got the ball back? They went 3 and out. The Jets went 3 and out. Harold Landry, as I recall, sacked Aaron Rodgers 3 plays later. It's just funny. It's just funny how everybody, to hear the story, you would think like, oh, after that play, the Jets went on a 30-0 run. But in reality, they punted right back to us. And again, it's on the Titans for not doing anything with that. But it's like, I don't know. It's just, I guess people just read the box score.
In Tennessee, and to make matters even worse, Levis's bad play resulted in some crazy frustration from his teammates and coaches. One of the most popular clips of frustration from their week 2 game came from Tennessee's head coach Brian Callahan, whose reaction to Levis's terrible turnover was broadcasted on national television. And I think, as you guys can see from the video, it's pretty clear to see what he is saying if you're good at reading lips, what he said to Will Levis. It didn't get much better after the game too, as Will's coach continued to bash him in the post-game press conference, saying that he was upset and that the play from Levis was just dumb. Callahan also stated it was the same exact thing he did last week, and he cost us points in the red zone. And I mean, after just 2 weeks of the 2024 NFL season, not only were fans upset with Will Levis, but his coaching staff and his teammates were mad at him as well. And honestly, I mean, the dude's
What teammates? What teammates were mad at Will Levis? So if we're just gonna pull that statement out of thin air, because at the heart of it, I agree, Will Levis has been bad, and I'm not sure there's a future with him. But like, it's just like before the season, we're just pulling our own facts out of thin air to push the narrative. You don't need all of the false stuff. He's been a turnover machine, and he hasn't been good with his decision making. That's the extent of it. Nobody expected him to be good. That's a lie. Nobody was picking the Titans to win any games. That's a lie. No teammates have come out and said anything bad about Will Levis. That's a lie.
Confidence had to be in the garbage after what his coaches, were saying about him in press conferences to the media. Like, that's crazy for Callahan to go in front of everybody and say about his starting quarterback.
Can we grow up, dude? You want to know what else Brian Callahan said about Will Levis? He said he's an adult. He should be able to take some criticism. Yeah, he's an adult. He's an adult. Maybe we should stop spoon feeding these guys. I mean, these these people act like Brian Callahan came out and was just like, this guy is the worst to ever do it and I hate his guts. He said what he did. Hey, he turned the ball over. He hurt the team. It's unacceptable. And people are just like, oh, the horror. Oh, how could you possibly say, we can say it, but you can't? Grow up.
I mean, honestly, if his play did not improve quickly, then it was really going to start raising some questions of if he should even start and that he just needs to improve immediately if he wants to remain the starter. And I mean, as the Titans geared up for their week 3 matchup.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know what's going to happen with Will Levis, but what I do know is that when I hear Aaron Rodgers and Kurt Warner and Tom Brady, because those are guys that have actually talked about this, not necessarily with Will, but with young quarterbacks in general, when I hear guys like that are either Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers that are like, hey, give these guys time. Give them time. Don't pull the plug too early. It's hard playing quarterback. It's hard figuring out, how to navigate these tough waters. Give these guys times. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't listen to those guys. Maybe I should just listen to K. Rich. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Will. But, like, the title of this video is The Will Levis Project is Over. Do you realize the videos that would have been, and I know Will Levis is never going to be Peyton Manning, but the principle remains. Can you imagine the videos that would have been made about Peyton Manning his rookie season? The Peyton Manning experiment is done. Peyton Manning should go start a used car dealership because football's not for him. That's what it would have been.
The Packers, all eyes were on Levis, who found himself under immense pressure following the 2 disheartening losses. After a promising start in week 1 that quickly developed into a viral nightmare, Levis followed it up with an even more troubling performance against the Jets. With turnovers haunting him and frustration rising, the young quarterback looked to be running out of time and was in need of a miracle win to save his reputation. But of course, as we know now...
do you realize how short the shelf life is? And I get it, like... I said give him this year because why not? What else? What other option do you have? But like a month in, it's like he needed a miracle to keep his job. It's like, never mind the coach is literally out here saying like, hey, we're not going another direction this year. Who cares? We got content creators that are like, oh no, I know better. I know better than the coach.
None of that happened. The Titans got absolutely crushed, failing to protect their home field for the 2nd consecutive week. After a promising drive in the first quarter where Will Levis did throw a passing touchdown, tying the game at 7-7, everything started to fall apart and Tennessee was down 20-7 at halftime. Levis did end up having his first 250-yard passing game of the season, but it came with a side of 2 interceptions and a 16-point loss. Through 3 weeks, Levis has the most turnovers out of any player in the entire league, with 8 total turnovers, 5 being interceptions, 3 being fumbles, which is also the most turnovers committed by a quarterback over that time span in the past 3 years. Now, of course, we do know that week 4 has already happened, so I'm sure those stats have been updated, but right now, as of that,
not by much. He only played 2 drives against
all I had was week 3. But I mean, with those stats just alone, this means that Will Levis' start to the 2024 season is historically bad. And the one thing that made matters even worse for the Titans organization, or just really Titans fans in general, was that their week 3 loss came at the hands of Malik Willis, who they traded away because they thought he wasn't a good quarterback. And I mean,
that's just not true. I mean, once again, they did not trade Malik Willis because they didn't think he was good. They traded Malik Willis because they didn't think he was as good as Will Levis. They knew Malik Willis. I'm getting bad draft picks confused here. They knew that Malik Willis I can't even say his name. Malik Willis had talent, but with Levis and Rudolph, they saw more upside with Levis. It's not like they just said Malik Willis is bad, trade him. They just didn't think he was good enough to be on this team, which maybe that's just as bad.
Statistic that was posted too is just absolutely depressing, showing that Malik Willis threw and ran for a touchdown against his former team just 27 days after being traded by them, which is the shortest duration for a player to against the Milwaukee Badgers in October of Couple performances in the first 3 weeks of the season that honestly had just really loyal Titans fans questioning their fanhood and really just put Will Levis on the hot seat. Like, that dude has to start performing now if he wants to maintain a job in the NFL. Like, I mean, he is performing so bad right now that just everybody is calling for his head and wants him to be benched, or if he isn't benched, at least after this season, to move on from him. Callahan has obviously shown his frustration about the young quarterbacks playing, shared his thoughts plain and simple throughout press conferences, but it doesn't seem like he wants to give up just yet. Callahan himself is also taking...
God forbid the head coach not want to pull the plug after a month, you know? Everybody was so excited because the Panthers pulled the plug on Bryce Young. Yeah, how are they doing now? Are they in any better of a position than they were? No.
Accountability for some of the bad plays, as he stated that he believes that it's not just Levis, but the entire team around Levis needs to play better, and even went as far as saying that he needs to do a better job of coaching. With that being said, though, I mean, honestly,
went as far as to say, I mean, we've never heard that before. We've never heard a coach say that they've got to coach better. That's just unheard of. Whatever makes interesting content, bro.
Will Levis can't find a way to at least turn it around, maybe win, I'd say, like 2 or 3 games along the way in the next 5. I mean, being at like 1-6 would be insane. If they get to that point too, I think that they just sit Will Levis and move on from him. I mean, like, it wouldn't be a huge surprise if...
I just think it's important to realize, like, there are 21 other starters too. And I understand Will Levis is problem number 1. But, like, it is such an oversimple... I don't know any other way to say it. This is how I said it after the Green Bay game. If you're putting this all on Will Levis, you are letting a lot of people off the hook. Like, to hear these videos and watch these videos, it is as if it is saying, hey, the only problem with this team, the only reason they've lost is because of Will Levis. No, he's reason number 1. But, like, the defense... You mentioned that Green Bay game... The defense they were the ones that got torched by Malik Willis. Look, this is not me letting Will Levis off the hook. I'm just saying it's such an oversimplified argument to just be like, it's all on him and no one else. There's been some blame to go around.
Callahan and the Titans don't win a few with Will Levis, and they just are like, sit down, buddy, we're moving on from you. But really, who knows? I mean, what do you guys think? Like, I mean, even the media has already begun searching for replacements on their own, including an article Sports Illustrated dropped.
That means nothing. I mean, that means nothing. The media means nothing, because, of course, they need something interesting to talk about, and they're like, okay, well, let's just say Will Levis doesn't work out. Who could they go get? Like...
Just 24 hours after the Titans' Week 3 loss to the Packers, titled 3 Future Replacements for Will Levis. The piece does mention players like Sam Darnold, who is set to be a free agent next offseason, and even, I mean, somehow if they land Quinn Ewers or Shadir Sanders, 2 college quarterbacks who should be available in the 2025 draft. Regardless of whether or not the Titans organization has already started thinking about a replacement, one thing is certain. To this point,
there is no way in Week 6 that the Titans... GM and head coach are sitting in there going, okay, who's in the draft? Like, what do these people think these NFL organizations do? Do you really think they're having a meeting like that in Week 6?
The Will Levis project has been an absolute failure. Any weapons they have tried to surround him with, or any coaching staff they've brought in to help develop him as a player, has fallen incredibly short, and it's looking like it's about time to pull the plug completely on this project. But I want to know what you guys think. How good do you think Will Levis is? Just how good do you think the Titans are in general? For me personally, I hate to say it, but honestly, that's kind of where careers seeming to go to die. I mean, it's almost like the Bears were at one point, where you just would send a quarterback there and their career was just done. That's how it seems for Tennessee. Like Tony Pollard, we all saw the clip of him and his receding hairline. DeAndre Hopkins has fallen.
Okay, now you're just ticking me off. Tony Pollard's been good for the Titans. DeAndre Hopkins has been really good for the Titans. There are a number of players that have come from other places. This is the most tired narrative in the world, at least in terms of the Tennessee Titans. Like, this idea that this is where players go to die. Ask Ryan Tannehill if players go to die there. He revived his career in Nashville. DeAndre Hopkins has been really good since he's been there. Let's talk to Jeffrey Simmons about careers going to die. Let's talk to Danico Autry. Let's talk to Ernest Jones. L'Jarius Sneed's played well. List goes on. Quandre Diggs has played well. Like, this idea that just, this is where the career's going to die. It's like, just everything. It's they all just listen to each other and say the same things because it's like, this is what the other guy said, so I'll say it too.
Off a cliff. I mean, there's just a lot of guys that are starting to fall off a cliff, and
DeAndre Hopkins is falling off of a cliff. Okay. Let him get traded to Kansas City, and then the whole narrative will change. They said the same thing about Derrick Henry. Let me take the headphones off for this one. They said the same thing about Derrick Henry. Oh, he's going off a cliff. I mean, he just, Tennessee, he just, career's going to die. He goes to Baltimore, and then they're all like, oh, one of the greatest ever, Derrick Henry. It's just whatever narrative fits, whatever gets the views, man.
just go to Tennessee and their careers just go like completely down the drain. So let me know what you guys think about Tennessee. Are they going to bounce back and become a playoff team? Are they even going to be contenders in that tough AFC South? I mean, surprisingly, as crazy as it sounds, the Jags are worse than the Titans right now, as crazy as that sounds. And they have a multi-million-dollar contract that they just gave to.
It's only crazy because you guys made the Jags out to be something they're not. Like, that's the only reason that sounds crazy. You know, I was expecting to just really agree with this guy because, I mean, now we have some proof that Will Levis is bad. But he still managed to say a bunch of stuff that made no sense. So